Hello everybody and welcome back to Wheel of Video. I am your host who cannot see anything in these glasses, Arjeshh, and today we will be spinning my I am currently out of ideas and/or have little time for a larger video idea wheel. Let's get started, shall we? Well, would you look at that? Yep, you may not believe it, but it's that time of the year again, where I give all 69 plus of you unsolicited opinions and recommendations for media. What could be better? Quite frankly, I have no clue. So let's just cut to the chase. I'm going to be talking about some music that I enjoyed this month and maybe a little before it too. Firstly, if you are a returning viewer of my channel, you will know that I'm a big fan of an artist called James Ivy. He recently released a song called Last Star, which is a very bright, poppy, very catchy tune, which I really enjoy, so you should definitely check that out. I think the music video came out yesterday as of my recording this. So yeah, that's a cool song. The two new teaser singles from Kevin Abstract are really great. I like the very retro future aesthetic of not only the visuals but the actual sound itself and the kind of weird genre bending and aesthetic which goes along with the whole album rollout. So Slugger goes really hard and Sierra Nights is just super hooky and catchy, and it's really great. It's this super interesting fusion of traditional pop and hip hop, I guess. I don't know what else specifically to call it, what subgenre, because there's a million of them. So yeah, the TikTok sensation song Just For Me by Pink Pantheress is also really good. It was kind of interesting that the final non-TikTok snippet of the song is pitched a little lower than the snippet. I feel like I like it higher, but regardless, a very good song. I listened to Yeezus for the first time this month too. It's really a revolutionary record for sure, and it's aged very well. I feel like I can see it influencing a lot of music that I listen to today, and it being influenced by a lot of very off-center music, especially for the time it came out. So yeah, Yeezus is definitely a great record. On Sight is a spectacular song. Hello everybody, this is Arjeshh from the future, or Addendum Arjeshh. I'm here to add some things that I forgot to talk about or lost footage or whatever. You know the bit, the vibes. So firstly and most importantly, I'd like to shout out Greenlight by Telebanato, the musical alter ego of famed YouTuber Nottingham Reds, and also my friend Arjeshh. The song itself is a really atmospheric and layered journey between lots of different types of samples and sounds and genres and moods, but it all kind of pulls it together in a cohesive way and almost kind of forms a narrative, which is supported by the very cool music video. I'm a huge fan of this mask thing he's doing, and I think the whole costume and video put together are just super cool. So definitely do check that out. That'll be one of the first links in the description. And stay tuned for more Telebanato stuff. This is only the tip of the iceberg, as I understand it. Anyways, back to video me. I also listened to Jack Antonoff's new album, Take the Sadness Out of Saturday Night. That album also has some really great catchy songs and really great moments, especially production wise. Obviously a man's everywhere, in terms of production. I like the closer on that album. I think it's very cool. Almost reminds me of Joe Goes to School from Car Seat Headrest's Teens of Denial, just the quality of the vocals. But yeah, also obviously the big singles, Chinatown and Stop Making This Hurt. Great songs, great, I guess, pop songs. Just kind of they sound like they're from a different generation. I also enjoy the fact that Jack is a big proponent of owning a New Jersey identity, because I spent a lot of time in New Jersey, and I also do personally feel some sort of a connection there. I think he and I kind of grew up, quote unquote, in the same county, which is neat. I know Jack gets a lot of slack for being associated with singer-songwriter projects that are mid, and I've seen one very particularly scathing Pitchfork article about him, and I would say cut him some slack, because obviously he doesn't need me defending him, but I'm gonna just speak my truth here, okay? It's not like he's an incompetent producer. He worked with Clairo on Sling, which I'll talk about a little later too, but that sounds really great and was critically super well received, to my understanding anyway. And he made Melodrama and also was a part of the band Fun, which was also interesting to note. I used to listen to a ton of Fun in like middle school. I'm sure they've like changed my relationship with music and the way like I make my own music. Link in the description. But yeah, regardless, I'm sure he gets more praise than flack, but even the flack that he gets, I'd say give him a break, you know? Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a certain level of privilege that he enjoys, but I don't know, I feel like people are kind of entitled to dealing with their trauma and whatever baggage they have as an individual however they want, you know? But yeah, I'm a Jack Antonoff woobifier. Not that he's done anything wrong even. Not that I know of. I hope this doesn't age poorly. That would make me feel very bad. So yeah, I hope that made sense. I kinda got lost in the sauce there. But other than that... So yeah, my camera died when I said I got lost in Jack Antonoff's sauce. Speaking of the guy, Sling by Clairo. I might be sounding like this Boss Baby tweet when I say this, but Sling gave me really like Simon and Garfunkel-y vibes. I suppose because it was like very folky, and that's my only reference point for like older folk music besides a couple of Carpenter's songs. But yeah, anyway, I really enjoyed that she dove into that sound and aesthetic a lot on this new album. There's some really fantabulous songs on this record, and it is widely hailed as a pretty epic, so as far as I understand anyway. It's like a nice addition to this indie pop renaissance happening with Taylor Swift and Folklore Evermore and stuff like that, so that's cool. One thing I would like to address that I said in a previous video, I actually don't feel super strongly about the new 21 Pilots album. I feel like I made it sound like this big fall from grace in the last video, but really I just don't have super strong feelings about it. I listened to it maybe like 6 times maximum. That might even be overestimating it, just like, you know, putting it on shuffle in the back. And they're like competent pop songs. They're all fine. I don't care for them. And that could partially be because I am getting old. I'm an old crotchety man now. All those youngins having fun, they're not allowed to do that. However, one thing I would just like to mention is that I feel like positivity and like upbeat, vibey albums tend to not do super great right now, like Scaled and Icy. And I think the new Lord album, though I haven't listened to that, where I feel like their exploration of happiness feels just kind of ignorant of the current socio-political climate, but like not that serious. But I feel like the reason people are not resonating with it as much, because I know a lot of people were underwhelmed by the top album like me, is because it's the joy expressed is shallow, which like one might wonder what is an adequate or non-shallow expression of joy like, and to that I say I have no idea, but Porter Robinson's Nurture does that really well, and I promise I will make a video about that album someday, where like that album's whole shtick is going through an arc of existential dread and coming out hopeful and kind of content that either the answer was in front of you all along or you don't need all the answers. Whereas with maybe the new Lord and the new 21 Pilots albums, I think the songwriters involved in those records might just be being like, I pretend I do not see it, in terms of the overwhelming grief that possesses a lot of just popular sentiment about being alive right now. More than that, I've been in a like big indie rock kind of phase. It is like the pretentious apple of genres to many people. There's some gems in there, I promise. I've been especially resonating with track 2 off of American Football's first self-titled album called The Summer Ends. It's this like perfect, super clean, nostalgic, raw musical exploration of like someone's senior summer and having to break up or let go of somebody because of personal differences or just facing the future, which I'm sure is kind of a prevailing theme amongst all teenagers around my age, like 17, 18-ish, where it's like, you know, pretty soon you'll be like facing the rest of your life and the kind of uncertainty and grief that comes with that, of like leaving a childhood behind, and what to do with all these relationships that'll be fundamentally changed just because of this. And so I would definitely recommend listening to that song. It's really beautiful, and that album has a cult classic status for a reason. If you want to get super nostalgic and like really see what I mean by this whole like high school nostalgia thing, you can just check the YouTube comments of the video upload of this song on YouTube, which are all just saying basically what I was trying to say. And then an album that's coming out soon that I'm really excited about is Maybe Next Time by Ali, just Ali. I think they were Cavetown's drummer when Cavetown went on tour. They released a little EP not too long ago called Junior Coder's Experiment, which was like a neat little collection of songs, but they've been releasing tracks off of this new album, Maybe Next Time, which like every single song as it comes out to me is like my new song of the week or song of the month. Like it's all indie rock obviously, but I feel like the songwriting is really immaculate, and for being like a smaller production, I feel like the instrumentation and production and just the music is really phenomenal. I first got into the album when Listless and Even Though You're Gone, or ETYG, were the only two songs out, and like those two songs became ones that I looped constantly. And when Quinn came out, another teaser from the album, I was like, holy shit, now this is my favorite song. And then Ghosts also came out as a teaser, and I haven't been able to like shake the chorus or whatever of that song for a long time. The premise of the album so far, what I'm understanding, is like again kind of dealing with grief and change, as Ali came out as non-binary this past year, I think. And so it goes into like real gnarly depth about like losing loved ones in the process of discovering yourself and being honest and true with yourself, and just recounting memories and feelings and like all the gnarly stuff that comes with that, which I suppose is reflected by the album cover, which has a bunch of little Polaroids and notes and whatever. So yeah, I am extremely excited about that album. It is coming out I think in 2 days as of me recording this right now. I will most likely do a cover at least. So yeah, shout out to Ali. I mean, I'll leave links to everything I've recommended below, as I always do in these monthly recommendation vids. Also, the new Glaive album came out. I like a couple songs off of that. I just haven't listened to the whole thing yet. I like the video for the outro though. That's also very cool, so check out the new Glaive album. August has been a much longer month than I thought. Lots of stuff happened, or I just like have been consuming a lot of stuff, it seems like, and I didn't even realize it. So now let's move on to the movies and shows section. Wait a minute, this is the wrong room. That's more like it. Yes, I'm sorry to say, the rumors are true. I'm wearing my hat now. It's kind of funny that, like, I think I've worn this hat in all 3 monthly review videos thus far. It allows me to channel my commentary YouTuber energy. To the point of August being a very long, or a much longer month than I thought, I've actually watched a ton of stuff like this month and maybe a little bit of last month too. Most notably, the entirety of Breaking Bad over the last 2 weeks. It is hailed as like the greatest TV show of all time for a good reason. It was really fucking great, and it was also super wild to see all of these like meme images and gifs that I've just seen all over the internet for so long, like in context now. Like, it was especially jarring to like see Dean Norris be so serious for the entire show basically, when all I had known him from was the Two-Face meme and him saying Sussy Baka on Cameo. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm not the one that's supposed to recommend you Breaking Bad, but it's a great show if you want to watch it. Would love to talk about it. I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, though it's been out for a long time, you know. It's one of those things. I will start watching Better Call Saul sometime soon. It's crazy that that show's just like ongoing right now. which is very cool. I have now watched 2 seasons of Better Call Saul also. It's very different from Breaking Bad, though it is a spin-off show. And yeah, it's just tonally different, but still very interesting. So that's a cool show to watch. I'd also seen just like a grab bag of a couple different movies this month, starting with cult classic film The Social Network. It's just a very good film. I kept finding like interesting similarities between the two main characters of The Social Network and the two main characters of the classic book A Separate Piece, especially the whole dynamic between the protagonists and their like jealousy turned friendship turned love turned envy turned hatred, etc., etc. You just gotta watch the movie or read the book. There's dust on my microphone. Was I gone that long? Shout out Andrew Garfield. What a nice young man. What a cool guy. Can't wait to hopefully see him in the new Spider-Man. Fingers crossed. I will talk about the Spider-Man stuff in a little bit. Speaking of superheroes, though, I had kind of a DC kick this month, starting with a couple of animated DC movies, including, it was mostly Batman movies, but regardless, it was, I watched The Suicide Squad, which was kind of the catalyst for my whole DC movie phase, and that was obviously a very refreshing and fun take on the original Suicide Squad, and actually used the very interesting premise in a very interesting way. Though it also surprises me how much of a phenomenon 2016 Suicide Squad was, because it felt kind of inescapable almost in terms of like popular culture. I'm sure this movie had an impact, but I don't know if it like had the same impact as the 2016 one, which is odd. It might just be because I'm older now, and 2016 was a long time ago, and my perception of the world has changed, but let me know if you agree with that in the comments. It started off with the new Long Halloween movie, which I thought was really good. I enjoyed the art style quite a bit, and the narrative is super interesting. It's a great detective movie. I also said this to my friend while we were watching it, but I find it interesting that Jensen Ackles, that one fellow from Supernatural, voices both Batman in The Long Halloween and also Red Hood in Under the Red Hood, which I think is interesting just because his presence kind of denotes that Batman is younger, which he is in Long Halloween, if you get what I'm trying to say. I don't want to spoil Under the Red Hood, even though like it's very commonly known who Red Hood is. I don't know. I remember watching it for the first time and being like, whoa, what the heck? You know? So, but then that was followed up by the Dark Knight Returns movie, Part 1, and hopefully I'll watch Part 2 soon. I've seen them a couple times before though, and those two movies together, Part 1 and Part 2, are like immaculate. I can't get enough of Peter Weller's voice as Batman. I think it's like amazing casting. It's just incredible. Okay, they based Batman vs Superman off the second half. There's also just like a crazy ton of interesting moments with like classic villains in this story, so pretty cool. It is many years old at this point, but it's a great movie. A lot of interesting political commentary in it too, looking back, of like Cold War specifically, because the comic came out in the 80s and the story's adapted from the comic, so it's also interesting to like rewatch as someone who understands what the Cold War was, vaguely at least. Then I finally watched Dark Knight Returns for the first time. I know, hold your tomatoes, don't throw them at me. I just hadn't gotten around to seeing it, and now I have. It's like one of those things, you know? I haven't seen all of the Star Warses either, nor have I seen Lord of the Rings, but I feel like a lot of people don't. I'm sure I'll have some freaking nerd make me sit down and watch it, okay? I'll get around to it eventually. Yeah, that was a similar experience to Breaking Bad, because like, there are so many memes and one-liners that came from that movie that just like persist and live on today as like little catchphrases, and like Heath Ledger Joker has done like irreversible damage to society. I mean, God rest his soul, but man. Then of course I for representation, watched Never Have I Ever season 2, which was very good. I enjoy that show a lot. Love Indian people as an Indian people myself. I love all the Representation. I think it is cool for young brown people in an increasingly globalizing world to have good role models beyond the fucking nerd from Big Bang Theory. Okay? Roles like that do irreversible damage to society. Hopefully we're making our way back. It's cool that kids now can have a chance to grow up with like decently conveyed experiences. Not that the characters even have to be decent people necessarily, like obviously some, but like complex and nuanced portrayals of people. Like, I enjoy the reduced tokenism in the show, and I might even do a longer video essay about representation of brown people in media. Though that video might exist, but I'll probably still do it anyway. Because I have thoughts. And then, on to the big thing, the f***ing Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Isn't that crazy? It's pretty cool. I'm very, very, very excited for this. I think surprisingly I've talked about it kind of little on this channel, but I'm kind of a huge Spider-Man fan. Pretty much everyone who knows me in real life knows that about me, but I don't think I've ever stated that properly on the channel. I think if it's still there, I have a Spider-Man clock up in my very real room that I'm sitting in. Apologies, my mic wasn't recording for a lot of that, so I hope that was bearable to get through. Godspeed phone camera mic. Thank you very much. But yes, I have a lot of thoughts about Spider-Man, the various iterations of Spider-Man through the movies especially, and so does everyone else on the planet, especially on Twitter, where everyone that likes Spider-Man actually hates being a normal person. Or they're just very young. Like, if you grew up with a Spider-Man movie that wasn't like the Tobey Maguire films, I understand having like a deep attachment to that. Because literally playing the Spider-Man game from the year 2000 on the computer, I think at age 2, genuinely rearranged my brain chemistry. I think I'll put this in a separate video. Might make that soon so I can ride off the high of this first trailer that just dropped, which is fucking insane. But yes, regardless, I like Spider-Man. I am excited for this new movie, and I think I will actually just keep it at that. I like all of the Spider-Man actors. They play the character in different ways, but they are all cool in their own right. I play every side, baby. I always come out on top. Also, I low-key kind of look like a costume Tom Holland would wear in The Devil All the Time, which is an interesting movie. So on a more personal note, I mean, from the first half of the video, you will see I am growing out my hair. The end goal is to end up looking like Ryan McGee from Super Mega, which I think I'm almost there with achieving that goal. I love Super Mega. Also on the topic of video game channels, I have been watching like a fuck ton of Scott the Woz videos lately, just like one after another. He's so funny. I wish I'd started watching him sooner, quite frankly. He does this genre so well of like nerd videos. His scripts are incredible. He writes jokes so... he's just great. Great channel. Go check him out. Yeah, he's just a funny little guy. Thank you extremely much for 400 views on the Tyler the Creator Great Gatsby essay. I'm extremely glad that it did so well because I put like a crazy amount of effort into that video. What with the costumes and getting the stock footage and I don't know, writing the fucking thing. It was a blast. I love that video and I'm glad that the response to it was so great. I would like to shift towards more video essay-ish content, like writing out and then performing scripts, maybe not on such a massive scale every time, but those videos are very fulfilling to do. It's really fun to write down and make points that I think are interesting and that no one else has made before or not to that depth, and I just like doing it. I'll still probably try to do a challenge video here and there, but I would like to shift more into the like video essay scene because that's a form of content that I really respect too, just as a person. Jacob Geller is a huge influence. A lot of BreadTube people, some smaller creators too. My friend Nottingham Reds, excellent video essayist, etc, etc. Yeah, so that's kind of like the future of this channel. I think you guys will really like it because I also wanted to shift a little bit more into video game stuff, which like you may have seen coming like from the Markiplier video maybe and the Among Us video. Not like way gamery, but like gamery in an art way. Like Jacob Geller. But not to a T, obviously, you know. Speaking of content creation, I have more concrete plans and more interesting things in the works. Hopefully, new music, maybe? Soon-ish. I'm not gonna make a promise like last time, but I'm working on something cool, maybe with another person. You didn't hear it from me though. And on a final note, I'll tell you that I'm basically trying to make like a long form story based project based around the characters you've seen so far, specifically Jimbo. This is not an announcement. Don't expect anything of any kind. Something along the lines of lore based stuff, which I know I keep teasing and keep not releasing. So that's like also a huge priority for me. Power EP cover is cool and all, but what the heck does it even mean? You know? On an even more general note, I will be going to college soon, so I like my major and I like the school that I'm going to go to. I've had a very long summer and I've enjoyed it a lot. This YouTube channel has flourished. Getting to 69 subscribers was a dream that I did not think I would achieve so soon. We're almost coming up on 1 year of the channel, like since I really started uploading, which was the Markiplier video. I just want to say thanks again to everyone that watches or has ever watched or ever will watch. Get out ahead of the curve. I like doing this. I like it a lot. I love editing videos and just this whole like combined audio visual experience that is the YouTube video is very fun to create and develop. Big life changes coming up, which is cool. I feel pretty good about the future. Not to jinx anything. Lots of cool things in the works, both by me and the world and other people. So on an existential note, it's a great time to be alive. Let me know how you're feeling too, down in the comments. If you can relate to anything that I've said in this or talk about any of the media that I've talked about so far, I would love to discuss it too. So leave a comment down below. But yeah, the future is very bright for arjeshh and arjeshh fans. Apologies for disappearing for so long. I was just trying to figure out what kind of video to make, and it was like too early to make a monthly wrap up. So I was like, I'll delay it and then post it. So yeah. Whatever. Anyways, thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.